Yes, I'm a big fan. I think it was the SBS or ABC back in Australia where I feel, and I could be wrong with this, I think it was ABC or SBS, whenever they didn't do on-air broadcasts, they had this really cool looking, it was like a test pattern. I don't know the official name of this test pattern, this one that's on screen now. When I downloaded it, it came up with PM5644. So maybe PM5644, maybe that is like a, yeah, it is. Actually, here we go. Oh, we're learning things. This is great. Philips PM 5544. So that test pattern that's next to me, and if you're listening to this on iTunes, this is that test pattern that's a circle that has color bands through it. And you'd recognize it if you live in the US. I'm sure stations here would use this. Here's the history of it. I never knew that there was such a cool history to it. So it says, the Philips PM5544 is a television pattern generator. Oh, it was a generator. Most commonly used to provide a television station with a complex test card, commonly referred to as the Philips pattern or PTV circle. The content and layout of the pattern was designed by engineer Finn Hendel. Hey, on you, Phil. From in the Philips TV laboratory in Copenhagen, under supervision of chief engineer Erik Helmer Nielsen. That sounds like a name that definitely came from Copenhagen. I love it. ERIK. And where would Grey come from as a name? Anyway, I get distracted a lot, so we need to plot the course to learn about what this signal actually is. So the equipment, the PM5544, which generates the pattern, was then made by engineer Fenn and his group in between 68 and 69. Oh, I mean, we were making test patterns. We were launching rockets to the moon. What a time. Since the introduction of this test pattern in the early 70s, the pattern has become one of the most commonly used test cards, with only the SMPTE and the BBC test cards and the Snell zone plate coming close to its usage. Let's have a look at what they are. So currently we're seeing, this wasn't supposed to be part of the show, by the way. This wasn't supposed to be part of today's show at all. But I just realized when I put up that screen, I wanted to know the history of it. So the SMPTE bars, let's see what they are. Oh, I was using the wrong mouse. Oh, okay, your classic. These bars here, these are the bars that generate here. So the test pattern that you're now seeing on screen is whoops, but I've disappeared. Oh no, I've got myself, I'm stuck. I'm back. There we go. So this pattern that you're seeing here with just the classic bars, this is called the SMPTE color bars. Those listening, this is the color bars. You then have, and you're going like white, yellow, cyan, green, magenta, red, blue. And then below there's another block. Now why did it have different blocks? Oh wow, the description on why seems quite complex. There was quite a lot to it. Oh, there we go. I'm back. So you've grey, yellow, cyan, green, magenta, red, blue, white, black. Look at that. So it's a direct luminescence numbers and a phase angle. Phase angle is the color when you do like a color spectrum, and you can see where it is. I guess this is kind of like if you're doing test sounds and so on, you'd hear the specific frequency. They used to do it, of course, with color and luminescence. I mean, yeah, of course, makes sense. So anyway, getting back to the pattern that we were looking at. Oh, the other one was, okay. There's one other one that we do need to look at. This one is called the test card F. This is the BBC test card as seen on BBC. I don't remember seeing this, however, like, because I didn't live in London and Australia didn't stream BBC. However, we did have shows like The Goodies, and I'm sure The Goodies used to do gags of this. Hang on. No, they can't have, because this only came about in 1991. Well, I'm glad I realised that, because Scrap everything that I just said about seeing goodies do gags with it. I must have seen goodies do old school gags with different test cards. So that's test card F. The one that we're looking at, though, PM5544, that's really cool. Oh, the components of it. Wow. Check out the components of this. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I see. So you've got like the low frequency check, a reflection check. The colors in the center, the yellow, cyan, green, magenta, red, blue, are at specific luminescence, as we saw before. There's a scan line. There's a frequency subcarrier check. There is so much inside this test pattern. So I grabbed a test pattern like yesterday and just made some text changes to it. I didn't realize each of those, where you're seeing that the almost like the barcode inside it, that is actually at specific frequencies. Sinusoidal difference lines, gray. Oh, and then the gray is actually a complete grayscale that goes from 0% to 100%. So here, those barcode lines inside there are actually at specific frequencies. And I guess if your TV was out of sync, you probably wouldn't see straight lines. I imagine you'd see either some waving or some moire or some form of difference. Oh, wow. And those gray shaded parts, if your TV wasn't color contrasted correctly, you may see like the 20% and the 40% as the same level of gray. Wow. There is so much. I did not realize how much was involved inside this test pattern. I mean, it's great. It totally makes sense. It's a test pattern, so you want everything inside there. Whoa. I didn't realize on the side as well. Look at that. You've got, let's see what colors they actually are. On the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, there's like striping. They're burst gate checks. Oh, here we go. 90% phasing, 90 to 270 degrees phase inversion on the left, and then 0 to 180 degree phase inversion. But they're both horizontal lines. I don't fully comprehend what that's referencing. I'm not sure. Someone else from the industry 100% would. Why is it just yellow down the bottom and red? What are those two at the bottom? The YC timing check, yellow, yellow, and red. Huh. 230 nanosecond, 2 scanline frame grid with grey background for convergence and linearity check. Huh. This is one of the coolest things. I don't know. We will go through strange things on this show because it is called Robot Time Machine, and you never look. I don't really know what's going to happen a lot of the time on these shows, but finding interesting stuff like this color test pattern, I'm really fascinated by that. So this is the PM5544, your classic TV color pattern. Your classic TV color pattern. I remember seeing this on TV so many times. Oh, what else have we got here? The BBC occasionally used a modified version of their card, test card G. Oh, the BBC had different versions. So remember, a minute ago I was saying I was sure the goodies used to use it. That was test card F that came in 91. There was test card... there we go. Test card A made its debut in the late 1940s. However, it and test card B were soon to be replaced by the more useful test card C. Check out test card C. Old school test card. Look at that. Look at that. It's just... from what we learnt before in that other test card, those lines are at certain frequency. That... white to black is a 20% increase in grayscale each time, which I presume is for contrast testing. Yeah. Test card B, test card C. This one looks familiar. That's test card C. What years was that? 1948. Okay. Test card C was 48. D came in 64. E. This is definitely where it came from. It totally meant the goodies if you've never seen an episode of The Goodies, do yourself an it's Tim Brooke Taylor, Graham Garden, and Bill Oddie, and it's one of the greatest TV shows in the history of TV. When I open up my TV History Museum, which is happening next Tuesday at around 3 o'clock, it might not be occurring, but hopefully it will. So in my TV History Museum, I'm going to have all of the test cards, but I'm going to have a giant sign that just says that The Goodies is one of the greatest shows ever. It was amazing. Oh, and the thing that breaks my heart is I don't think it was broadcast in the United States, or if it was on some obscure channel at some obscure time. It's certainly, unfortunately, I don't believe NBC was pushing out The Goodies. The greatest show. Goodies. Goody, goody, yum, yum, goodies. We're coming for you. Goodies. Goody, goody, yum, yum. Here we come into town, getting up, falling down. Hey! Oh my. I'm very glad that off the top of my hat, I can still remember that song. Check them out. These are the goodies. These are the goodies. And they are possibly the coolest people in the world. There we go. Riding their 3-person bicycle. They were some of the funniest premises of any shows whatsoever. There was a giant cat that took over London. What was that? There was an enormous cat. Look at this. This was an episode. This was an actual episode of The Goodies where a giant cat went through London. Now, they didn't have CGI back in the day. I think that is cardboard cutouts of the kitten. Let's see if we can do a Here it is, the cat going up the tower. Oh, it's just amazing. Look at that fantastic green screen and keying it out. That would have cost a lot of money to do back in the day. One of the things that The Goodies really, really did was very clever and imaginative ways of doing film effects without the technology available. So there was a lot of, I mean, this actually goes back to, if you have a look at like documentaries of Buster Keaton and a lot of the slapstick, the black and white slapstick, had not only physical stunts being done inside of it, but they had to do a lot of cinematography tricks in camera, in lens. Which the difference between using like CGI or something like that, like I can key myself out. If you ever used to watch Wednesday Live, which was a live show that we used to do here on Facebook, like a year or two ago, that was basically a fully green screened show, and the things that we could do were all just processed on the computer, green screened out, keyed out very quickly. I mean, like on the fly, I can probably key out certain parts of the background of me right now. I'll see whether this might actually destroy what you're saying, but potentially I can just key out backgrounds. Let me see if I can key out in the background here. There's a red little French fry, little bag of French fries. I'll see whether I can key him out. Might not work. No. Let's see. I need to get the red. No. Okay. This isn't going to do it live, but we could just key out certain parts of the screen. Whereas, oh no, now I think I may be keying live. There we go. Okay. Is that happening? Okay, that whole background's, there we go. So if you're watching now, I'm keyed out a lot of the color in the background, which means I could add things into the background and then overlay myself on top of it like that, where I'm now sort of live. I'm like a shadow floating over the top of one of those test patterns. These things, I mean, these things can be done just straight in camera, on the fly, instantaneously. Oh no, now, now I've completely keyed myself into, I'm stuck in here at the moment. There we go. So that was scary. I was like, oh no, I've keyed myself for the rest of the show. This isn't going to be good. The things that they used to do in camera were lots of things to do with having a perception distance is a classic play where you can rebalance the size of something that looks big in front, whereas like right now it looks like I'm squishing my own head with my fingers. That's just a thing to do with the perception of where the fingers are. And the reason I'm stuttering at the moment is because whilst this looks normal on the live output, my actual camera input I've ruined for the moment, and I'm trying to get it back to normal. There we go. Okay, cool. We're back to normal. That was slightly terrifying. The entire time I was rekeying the background. And to show you live how that works, here's the lamp camera. There is a set of keypads here and buttons, and then on my screen here I can set up a whole different way of changing chroma keys and all that, and Luma, and anyway, let's get back to it. I want to talk about the goodies again for a second. So the goodies were amazing, and I'm absolutely sure they must have used that test card in some episodes. The goodies test card. If you type in the goodies test card, it just comes up with like kids test cards. That's not what we're looking for. Anyway, so that's I think we've spent long enough talking about. There's just one last part that I do want to talk about with this test thing. It's just so awesome. It looks great. It really is such a fun. I don't know. Maybe it's when you grow up watching things like test cards and so on. It's like a novelty to reminisce about it and so on, which is why maybe when I see it, I think, that's really cool. But that pattern generator, I don't believe is used much anymore, because it was very, very much about analog transmission and all of the complexities that come along with transmission. I'm sure it's probably still used in broadcast. I mean, it's got benefits, but yeah, I think sync would have been a huge problem with NTC and PAL. Why is there two different broadcast systems? Why? It's like the metric system. We got metric and imperial. Of course, we had to have NTSC and PAL. I come from the land of PAL. That was how Australia ran on PAL. The US went on NTSC. Anyway, what else have we got? What else are we going to talk about?